Thank you, Doug. Well, great stuff from SAS and Dr. Jim Goodnight. We're now here with David Krane. He's a partner with Google Ventures. And David, thanks for joining us, taking the time out of your busy schedule. You were obviously probably over at Google I/O today. We're trying to get as many people to come over, as many Googlers, as you call yourself, to kind of come over here. And we just learned while that was going that you are employee number 84. Is that right?
That's right.
So you've been there for how long?
Been at Google nearly 13 years of this short life.
And did you start off there in Google Venture? They probably didn't have a venture arm back then, right?
They did not. I started when there was a handful of engineers and a little bit of an appetite among Larry and Sergey's conversations to hire someone with enough extroverted skills to tell the rest of the world why the world needs Google.
Okay, and that was your job?
That was my first job for the first 10 years
so
ago.
You're like a PR guy?
That's exactly right.
All right, wow. Well, the homepage for Google Ventures, which is googleventures.com, says a radically different kind of venture group. What does that mean? Microsoft has a venture group, Intel has a venture, they all have venture groups, you have a venture group. Can it be that different?
Sure. For starters, it's what motivates us. 3.5 years ago, when we spun up Google Ventures, it was very important as essentially last man in on venture, we had to distinguish ourselves and we had to do something different. So the motivation is really inspired by our aspiration to be the most hands-on, most involved venture capital investor of anybody in a syndicate.
When you say hands-on, what does that mean?
So our team today is about 55 people. We invest in the United States only. Of those 55, just 8 of us make the investment decisions. The balance of the employees are dedicated teams of engineers, product and designers, technical recruiters, marketers, and there's another layer that rides on top which we call Startup Lab, which is essentially like a small university for entrepreneurs. We are very hands-on all of those levels, helping companies at really any juncture with technical problems, marketing problems, sales problems, hiring, etc.
Is this the farm team for Google's future business objectives? And it sounds like you're so hands-on, probably lending a lot of help in the context of what Google is doing and what the strategic plan is. I know that other companies like Intel, Microsoft, when they make investments, they don't necessarily provide that hands-on attention, nor do they tie the companies to any specific part of Microsoft or Intel's vision for that matter. Is there a tie here?
That's right. That's the most important point. The tying would be called a strategic investment decision. Google Ventures is not set up that way. We are measured by one sole criteria, which is financial return. So you could think of our structure more like the firms that you find on Sand Hill Road or you find investing in the East Coast. Financial return is what we aspire to do, and we believe we can influence that by working very closely with these teams on technical issues, recruiting, etc.
Is Google I/O a place where some of these companies that you've been working with are featuring their technologies?
Yeah, we have some folks here, one called Clicker, in fact, which is a new investment that just announced this week that has a presence at I/O. We've had companies in the past, one last year, in fact, called Scavenger, which had the privilege of being drafted by Google to write a game, a scavenger hunt, if you will, for all I/O attendees. And this was something fun and whimsical that the I/O community got to do in between conference sessions.
And I know Clicker just kind of came out last week. They announced the ability to move from cloud to cloud, and it's kind of interesting why Google would be involved in that. But I'm also curious about the size of the investments. What are the kind of ranges of investments that Google Ventures makes?
For starters, we have one investor, which is Google. It's a $200 million a year fund. And we write checks as small as $100,000 per investment. And we also can skew as high as $30, $40, $50 million in a late stage, more growth-oriented investment. So we don't tie ourselves to any regimented philosophy about when to invest and how much to invest. It can be anything across the spectrum.
And what kind of, give us some ideas of success stories. You guys have been at this for a while. You mentioned a couple of companies that have just kind of come out in the last year or so, but maybe household names, ones we might have heard of.
That's right. I think the first exit for the fund was a company called NG Moco, which was a gaming company founded by senior leadership and founders of Electronic Arts. These are people that created magic on the desktop and aspired to do the same in a mobile environment. This company was acquired by a Japanese public company called DNA several months after we got involved, in fact. So that was the first positive financial outcome we saw. Another company called HomeAway, which is sort of specialists in vacation rentals. They own a number of properties, one called VRBO, which is very popular in the United States. This company filed to go public and successfully achieved that outcome about 6 months ago.
And I know it's painful, but Google is a company that I think, learns from its failures as well. Can you talk about that process and how Google deals with that? Obviously, ones that don't provide a return.
Sure. Google Ventures itself is fenced off from Google in a very deliberate way. We live in a building that's on the campus, but it's exclusively for our employees. Those insights, those lessons learned, I think, primarily come from the experience.
All 8 employees.
8 employees plus the other nearly 50 that are involved in helping the company.
So they're not from other parts of the company?
Not at all. They are dedicated and local to our fund. And really, the majority of these 55 people that are on the staff are refugees of Google. We have spent anywhere from 2 to 3 years to upwards of 10 years plus working on different pieces at Google. We kind of got the band back together again and brought a number of us together that worked previously on the Google side and said, what we've learned, the miles that we've traveled in our various experiences at Google can then be shared with, those insights given to startups, and help these guys maybe avoid some of the same mistakes or capture some of the same opportunities.
There's some companies out here watching this and they're saying, how do I get some of Google's money? So how do I get some of Google's money if I'm starting something up?
The best way to do it, in fact, is to find yourself an introduction to one of us through the Google network. There's a sort of a casual philosophy that we have that some of the best entrepreneurs in the world probably have at least one friendship or 2 relationships inside of Google. Get their attention, they'll get our attention, and then we're happy to take a meeting if it looks like a match.
Is there a way to reach you through googleventures.com or Google+?
Back to the point about just 8 people, it's really impossible for us to keep up with email. So the best way is to meet one of our colleagues.
We're going to chain you to that poll over there.
There's a bunch of people here, that's
right. You see a lot of companies come through. Maybe just give us a couple quick trends that you're seeing.
Sure. We're seeing a ton of activity in gaming right now. Gaming at the most simple consumer level, gaming at a more complicated, massive multiplayer online gaming environment. Within those game environments, we're seeing interesting opportunities in commerce and payments and virtual goods. We're seeing a lot of opportunity in life sciences, which would be a less likely place you would think that we would be hunting for opportunities. Many trends that we're seeing in traditional life sciences research are moving away from labs, microscopes, petri dishes, and a lot of that work is being done computationally in the cloud. This is an area where we have deep expertise and a lot of experience, and we can bring great value to these companies.
Do you give any credence to the lean startup thing that people are talking about, big controversy?
Sure. Lean is a forethought in everything that we prescribe to people. I think the best entrepreneurs are scrappy, they're frugal, and these were characteristics and attributes that I think Google leveraged very proactively as we built our company, and I think we expect the same from our portfolio.